All right, so Coach, the premise of what we do here is one, introduce new programs to our audience, but two, to talk recruiting. So let's kind of jump into this. Year two at Southern Utah. How you guys looking?
Yeah, we're going into season three.
Three. That's
Um,
right. That's right. That's season three.
First season was 22. Steve, we inherited a program here that had won 4 games over 6 seasons. They were 1-10 year before we got here. We were fortunate enough to go 5-6 the first year. We went 6-5 last year. We returned the majority of our players. Almost all of our players are back, Steve, and we expect to be pretty good this fall.
Yeah, and you guys are coming to El Paso.
We are that.
Yeah, so that I'm actually excited about that. I will definitely be at that game. Hopefully, I can get some time to talk to you. But you guys made the jump, and I say you guys because you basically brought your staff from Frostburg State with you to Southern Utah. So you guys made that jump. On the recruiting side, how did that change your approach going from Division Two to Division One?
Yeah, I believe the right thing to do when you're successful as a head coach and somebody else wants to hire you and better your life and give you a good opportunity. I think the right thing to do is to bring the guys that helped you get there with you, and we did that for the most part. The jump in recruiting. You're looking for bigger, faster, stronger. You've got to find bigger, faster, stronger. Stephen, you've heard me say this before. I don't think the kids are any more skilled at this level than they are at the Division III level. The kids at Division III catch the ball as well as they catch the ball and throw the ball as well as the kids at Division I do. Just the kids doing it at Division I are a lot bigger, faster, stronger in catching it. So some of the skills are the same. Here's what I would say to this, and I'll get straight to the point. Going from recruiting in Division II to recruiting in Division I isn't as big as of an adjustment as going from D2 to D1 and then having the portal and NIL all get kicked in at the exact same time. And when people talk about the perfect storm, it all happened at one time for us. So there's been a learning curve.
Definitely, and that kind of segues me into this because that's one of the things I want to touch on. So, with that transfer portal now playing a major role in the recruiting process, how does that impact your recruitment for high school students?
Yeah, we're still on the older school end of things as far as that. I don't ever want to turn my back on a 17, 18-year-old high school kid that's a good football player and wants a good education. So right now, Stephen, we are about 50-50. If we take 20 players a year, if we're signing 20 new players, bringing them into our program, we try to get 10 high school kids, 10 portal kids.
Okay,
Take the
okay,
bring in 10 high school kids in areas where we think we're going to need a player over the next year or two. And then for the 10 portal kids, they're being brought in for immediate needs.
got you. So, how is that NIL being? It's been crazy hearing about it, but you have to live this, eat this, breathe this virtually every day. So, how has that impacted recruiting for you and your staff?
Yeah, it's always a funny conversation. Once the parents and the kid leave your office, but you bring in a fringe kid, and he's on the fringe between D2 and FCS. Got if he works hard, FCS got a chance to be a good player. And the mom and or dad go, what can you do for little Johnny? Well, what I'm doing for little Johnny is I'm gonna pay for his education. They went, no, 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 no. What can you do for little Johnny and his family? And you're like, you're lucky to be sitting in this office, much less getting an NIL deal. So we've had some of those conversations. But on the NIL side of things, Steve, you've got to fork out a little bit of money sometimes to get a good player to come into your program. And then more importantly, on the other end, a kid that's played well for you, you're going to have to fork out some money. You're going to have to divvy out some money to keep him in your program.
Definitely understand that. Um, how has NIL changed college football going forward?
Yeah, the NIL/portal rules have made it NFL free agency, and that's what it is. Stephen, you and I are going to see the day where a college football or basketball player is going to play at 10 schools in 5 years. They're going to transfer every semester of their career. No chance of getting a college degree. No chance of getting an education. But they're going to go to 10 schools in 5 years. You and I are going to live to see that. Where we think we've won here, and where we think it's better here, is we've been able to retain our players for the most part. Most of our kids have been loyal. Most of our kids see the big picture, that they see where we're at and where we're going, and they've chose to stay here. And we call that a big success.
And you bring up a very good point there, because that's been my argument since this thing started. Like, how are these programs able to keep bringing in all these transferred kids who've transferred 3 and 4 times? They're not matriculating, because most schools require you to at least have 60 credit hours from that institution to graduate. And transferring as much as these student athletes have, I think it's hard to do that. Now, I do have a question here, because you can help me out with this. So the old rule was, if you transferred, you had to sit out a year. Is that gone?
That is gone, completely gone.
Okay, so they can. So it really is free agency.
They are allowed to transfer every single semester, Stephen.
Oh wow! Now I don't think a lot of parents and student athletes know that. So that's good information.
Wow is right. It's good information, but it isn't positive for their life. Every time a guy or girl transfers schools, the likelihood of them graduating with a college degree decreases by 20%. So, 20 times 5 is 100. That kid hits his 4th or 5th transfer, he's got no shot at an education, no shot at a degree.
Wow. That is crazy.
It is.
So, on that line, so you guys are FCS. So what's the major difference for a student athlete looking at FBS and FCS, other than being on national TV and the money? But what's the big difference, like physically and all of that?
So I'll start with the scholarships. So FBS gives out 85 scholarships. FCS is 63 scholarships. D2 is 36 scholarships. NAIA is 24 scholarships. And in Division III, quote unquote, doesn't give any athletic money out. So those are the differences there. The differences as far as playing, and let me get, your question was FBS versus FCS, right?
Yeah. Yes.
On average, our starting 22 players, our starting 11 on offense and our starting 11 on defense, they're as good as a starting 11 on FBS, and usually can hang tight, can hang tough, really tough with them. There's some discrepancy in the talent level, size, speed, strength of the backups. And you'll see differences there because backups have to play during the game. And then you really see differences on special teams. Stephen, we went to BYU last year and played them kind of even Steven on offense and defense. They absolutely destroyed us on special teams plays that took us.
Okay, so and that's really what I thought was it's the depth. It's the depth. Okay. Now, how has your coaching philosophy changed now that you're at the Division I level?
I'm looking for bigger, faster, and stronger. And our philosophy is always going to be, we look at the young man's transcript first. So the first thing that comes up in a recruiting meeting with our staff, as we talk about, is GPA. What's his GPA? What is he looking to major in? Stephen, how many high schools has he attended? I do not recruit, whether they're a portal kid or a high school kid, I do not recruit kids that have bounced from school to school to school. If he went to 2 or 3 high schools, he's going to go to 2 or 3 colleges, which why waste our time recruiting him? He ain't going to be here very long. And then we get into it, and the best football players are the kids that have hip explosion and can stick their foot in the ground and change directions. There's only a couple of positions where that doesn't apply, and it's a specialist in the quarterbacks. But at every other position, Is he explosive through his hips? Can he stick his foot in the ground and change direction? And then, hey, when the rubber meets the road, is he going to turn to violence? Yeah, because violence solves a lot of problems. We like the technically sound football players, the young men that are fundamentally sound and been taught well. But at the end of the day, after he shows those fundamentals and techniques, he's also got to show a mean side. He's got to show some violence.
Gotcha. And here's a funny thing for me was, so if I'm not mistaken, this graduating class was the last group of COVID kids, correct?
It's not.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
you're the fifth or sixth person that said that, but it's not. All right, so do this one. You'll like this, okay? So a kid read. Hey, he did COVID, a class of 20. He COVIDed in 20. He redshirted in 21. He played in 22. Played in 23. He's just a junior, 22-year-old junior.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then you do. Hey, we're alive and well in the state of Utah here, so do this one, okay? He COVIDed in 20, redshirted in 21, decided he was going to go on a church mission in 22 and 23. He's just a freshman. The last COVID kid that you and I'll see is going to be somewhere around 27.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you
Yeah,
literally have grown men playing against high schoolers in some instances.
You have we tell first thing we tell the freshmen when they come in here is you're playing grown man football. You are now playing grown. You never ever get to beat up on a 9th and 10th grader again. You're playing grown man football. And Stephen, the good ones can handle it, and the bad ones can't. Hey, you do this, and I'll be off on his year a little bit. Cam, we open with Utah, okay? And there's two funny pieces here, okay? Cam Rising's their starting quarterback. Cam Rising's going to make more money this year than our entire budget, our entire football budget, top to bottom. His NIL is going to be more than that. Cam Rising's 27 years old, and he's a junior. And Stephen, he didn't serve a church mission.
That's a grown man.
A grown man.
He's supposed to be in the NFL.
So, he's supposed to be in the NFL 3 years ago. Hey, here's a funnier one, okay? He's 27 years old, and he's a junior in college. John Gruden was 32 years old when he won the Super Bowl with the Bucs.
Yeah, that is true, man. So with all that in play, it kind of makes sense why now, for a lot of coaches, their first look is at the junior colleges, because they're trying to get guys. Well, it's actually the portal first, then the junior colleges, then the high schools. So what does a high school kid have to do in order to put themselves in a position to be able to even play at the Division I level?
Yeah, you gotta not jump from high school to high school, because that's a red flag. Your grades have to be really good. You have to care about your education. And then if you get an opportunity, Stephen, you have to take the opportunity. It happens all the time here. And we're going to take 12 high school kids this offseason. We currently have 6 committed. But we have offered another 6 young men that should have taken it, because we're the best. We're the best location. We're the best offense, defense for them. We're the best staff for them. We're going to develop them. But they want to sit and wait and see if USC or Notre Dame or the University of Texas comes knocking. Like that, they want to play this thing out all the way until February, and it ends up being a mistake, because when that portal opens in December, all of a sudden the high school kids become irrelevant.
Yeah, and I think parents definitely need to hear that, because they want to play this. It's almost like they want to play this how many scholarship offers can I get game. And the reality is, for coaches, this is my job, and we've got to build a roster. So we've offered you, we want you, but we're not going to wait forever because we still got to fill that roster spot. And I think student athletes kind of get caught up in the whole the journey and not so much the destination. And when I say journey, I'm talking about they want to feel like I don't like, this is just me personally. I don't like this whole, oh, thank you, coach, for offering, posting it on social media, letting the world know. And the reality is, all you're doing is really trying to stack offers and leverage them to try to get something better. But just like you said, you wait around, FAFO. That's the best way I can put it.
But let's use two schools that don't involve us, okay? You've got Montana will offer a kid, and then the kid gets an offer from San Jose State. 100% of the time, he goes to San Jose State because it's FBS versus FCS. And I sit back as a grown adult and said, you understand that Montana is by far the best program. By far the best program. You picked the worst of the two programs just so you could tell mom, dad, aunt, and uncle, and you could tell all the girlfriends that you're an FBS football player, when all along you should have went to Montana. Montana's a better education, better university, better football program, better stadium. They produce more pro players, but it's a lot about the level. The level. And you can do the same thing with us. If a kid is being recruited by, if he's being recruited by Eastern New Mexico, Western New Mexico, New Mexico Highlands, Fort Lewis, I'm trying to think, if he's being recruited by some of those D2s, we can come in the 11th hour and offer him a scholarship, and he flips and signs with us immediately.
Yeah.
Just because the difference D2 and FCS, when all along, one of the other schools might have been the best spot for him.
Yeah. And I always talk fit. And that is true. So
fit is what everybody should be talking to the young men about.
We beat this recruiting thing up, and I think it's a lot of information that parents needed to hear. Let's kind of shift the focus a little bit. Look at your program, coach. So, what's the day in life like for an athlete there at your program?
You want to talk about the fall? Is that? Or you want to talk? We can talk about summer right now.
We can talk kind of like what they're doing now, what they're going to go and get into in the fall, kind of like just a day in the life for them, just to give these student athletes kind of an understanding of what they're really getting into when they decide they want to play college athletics.
Sure. So as you and I are talking, we had a group. We have 3 lifting groups that during the summer, and it's 6 a.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m. So our guys this morning got up and they lifted. The 6 a.m. group lifted. Everybody met at the bowling alley at 9 a.m. and they're actually at the bowling alley now. So they're bowling against each other for 1 hour. Pretty good deal. We broke the team up into smaller teams, 15 lanes at the bowling alley, and letting them compete through that and doing some team building. And I was over there a few minutes ago, and the guys are having a great time. We will have a group, and it's PRPs, so it's player run practice this afternoon. But we'll have all of our skill guys will be out there throwing 7-on-7 against each other, running our plays, running our coverages against each other at lunch. And then the offense and defensive linemen will be working one-on-one together, and it's completely led by them, no coaches out there. And then we've got that 2 p.m. group that'll be in there running and lifting in our strength conditioning center, and then the 4 p.m. group will be doing the same. So that is kind of their summer. Everybody wants to hear about the fall, so I'll throw that in there. Okay. And in the fall, if you're on the travel squad, you lift twice a week. So they're going to get 2 lifts in a week, but they have from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. to get their classes taken care of, classes, study hall, get a nap in, get some lunch, get some breakfast, get all that taken care of. At 3 p.m., we go into a special teams meeting. Last 15 minutes, we come out at 3:15. We go into offense, defensive meetings. They're in those meetings for 45 minutes. Stephen, we hit the practice field at 4 o'clock, hit the practice field at 4 o'clock, and we're on a practice field from 4 p.m. until we get done. And what I'm saying there is we're going to be there from 4 p.m. until we do things right. And once we do things right, we're out. Now, it's somebody that's sticking to a schedule. Hey, we're there from 4 until about 5:50, about an hour and 50 minutes. Stephen, practices are scripted right down to the second. So we blow the whistle at the 5-minute mark of a drill, and everybody's running to the next drill, and we're starting the next drill in 15 seconds.
Gotcha. Now, I want to put this out there for parents who might not understand what you just said. And when I say understand what you just said, you said for the summer, right? They're in summer school.
I started with the summer. No. I started with the second part was our fall schedule.
No, I got you. But the student athletes are in summer school right now, right?
Yes, sir.
They're not at home. They're at summer school.
Big difference in D3 and D2 to D1. D3 and D2, okay, kid goes home for Thanksgiving. He goes home for his entire Christmas, and then he's home for the whole summer for the most part. In Division I, these kids are at home the month of December, the month of May. They're back here the first week in June. They're with us the entire month of June and July, strength and conditioning and throwing and running and anything they can do to get better. And then we come into camp. The last day in July, we start camp.
And I just wanted to put that out there so that people understand that. I think I may have told you this before. When I was in the military, my boss' son was the starting quarterback for Temple. And he said he saw his son a grand total of a month in the 4 years that he was there. He was home a month. And so I was like, man. And so I think just getting that part out there.
Hey, now, if he was only home 1 month over 4 years, that the girls at Temple were probably pretty good looking at those 4 years.
I'll ask one more question. So what type of support do you guys have there for your student athletes at the school? Whether it be academic, advisors, etc. Like what type of support do you guys have there?
Yeah, so the football program has their own advisors. And we have 3 advisors here for the football players. They do a nice job with scheduling, getting the kids into the classes that they need to get in, getting the kid into a class that he can actually be successful in, rather than putting him in something that's going to be a failure. But they do a nice job there. Stephen, we've got a 3.19 GPA, so we're doing a good job in the classroom here. They are in study hall, and their study hall depends on their GPA. But all first-year students are in study hall for 8 hours a week. You do well there, it comes down to 4 hours a week. You're up in your years. You're a junior, senior. You're over a 3.0 GPA. Your study hall hours are like 2 hours a week. So it goes down as you show us that you're capable. Stephen, the best thing going here is I get their grades every single week. 75% of the professors are going this I guess it's called a computer site, and they put in the young men's grades at the end of every week. So on Monday morning, I know exactly where little Johnny's at as far as his education. And then about once a month, they'll do comments along with the grades. So I know why his grade is what it is. And it may be, hey, Jack's got an A. And Jack hadn't missed a class, turned in everything on time, and did really well on both tests. But then on the other side, it may say, Johnny's got a D. Johnny's missed 3 classes. Johnny never did turn in the second assignment, and he bombed the second test. And lets me know exactly why he's where he's at. But I think it's one of the best systems that I've experienced in my collegiate career.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I had one other question, and I lost it. It ran from me, Coach.
I'm sorry.
So, what do you, in closing here, what do you want people to know about your program, about yourself, and they can take away and really delve into Southern Utah University.
No, absolutely. You're going to close, and we ain't going to talk UTEP at all. No UTEP football.
Hey,
let
I'm
me
gonna
off.
tell you something.
Let me off.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Go ahead.
I can't say that on air.
I got you. I got you. Hey, on our football program and kind of who we are, it's tough, blue collar football program based on accountability and punctuality. We have a disciplined program. We believe in hard work. You know, the fastest way to get from point A to point B is to work hard, and we've done that. Stephen, we've had one of the best years that I've ever seen, off seasons that I've ever seen in the weight room. We're big and strong, and we're very capable this fall. We have depth now in our football program that we didn't have before. Being in Southern Utah, we don't get a lot of respect. Do I think we're capable of being a top 25 program? Yeah, we're definitely in the top 35, and we're capable of being in the top 25, but not a lot of people think that or know that. They do when the polls come out, and they do, the best FCS linebacking core. We don't get any love, and we've got two of the best in the country playing linebacker for us. Running backs, we don't get any love. We've got 3 or 4 running backs that can go. Our offensive line is almost 100% intact from last year. Can they be pretty good? Yeah. We've got an NFL defensive end. We've got great D tackles. We really like our cornerback room. So we're happy with what's going on there. But we don't get a lot of respect. We like this team. We like this team, Stephen. The UAC conference poll will come out next week, and they'll have us picked somewhere between 4th and 6th in the conference is my guess. I can tell you this. We ain't finishing 5th and 6th in the conference. That one's not happening. But excited. Somebody's looking. This is the prettiest campus in the country. We're located just north of Zion National Park, and we're just west of Bryce Canyon National Park. Some of the prettiest views that you'll ever see. When you got 2 national parks kind of surrounding you, it's a pretty place.
Yep, definitely.
Pretty place with an above average to good education in a town that's clean. That's clean and wholesome and not a lot of trouble. A lot of people if you say there's no crime and no drugs, but there's not a lot of crime and there's not a lot of drugs here. It's just a good place to go to school, good place to be coaching right now, and we got a pretty good football program that we're proud of.
It sounds like we need to do a FSEN game day in Southern Utah.
Hey, if you're ever here, you're my guest. Y'all stay at the house. Stay at the house. Roll the red carpet out. Eat the pregame meal with the team.
Definitely. No, we'll. You know what? I'm gonna have to look into that this year. My guys have been really wanting to go to this college side as far as doing things. So we may look at that. I'm gonna have to look at y'all schedule and see if we can work something out. For sure.
And I know your base. I know your base is in Texas. We like Texas kids. Starting quarterbacks from Texas, starting defensive end from Texas, starting linebacker from Texas. We got Texas kids on our team, like to recruit more Texas kids, been successful that way. So anybody out there, you got players, make sure we hear about them.
For sure, definitely.
You got to do your game day with September 7th, right? September 7th, we're in El Paso. You keep dodging it. You want to go around that one.
You know what? When we end this, we can talk about that game.
The Thunderbirds and the Miners.
Yes, sir. You brought it up. So definitely, that was one of the reasons why we wanted to do this. A lot of people may not know this, but we've developed a relationship over the years, and it just so happened that you guys are playing UTEP this year. And so I wanted to definitely get you on here before that game happened. But no, I'll be rooting for you. I'll put it that way. I'll be rooting for you.
All right. My man. Hey, Stephen, thank you for having me on today.
For sure, Coach. Thank you. It was definitely a pleasure. Appreciate it. And it's been another episode of Coach Talk.
Appreciate you. See you soon.